Here's why Alicent felt betrayed by King Viserys defending Rhaenyra at Driftmark. Imagine this. You've spent years as the queen by the king's side, navigating court politics, raising your children, and enduring the constant scrutiny of Westeros. You've sacrificed, schemed, and endured, believing that your loyalty, your counsel, and your devotion would be rewarded. And then comes a moment that shatters everything. King Viserys, the man you trusted, publicly defends someone else, his daughter Rhaenyra, in a situation where you expected his unwavering support. For Queen Alicent Hightower, this wasn't just disappointment. It was a betrayal that cut deeper than any sword. At Driftmark, amidst the lords, the fleet, and the dragons, Viserys' defense of Rhaenyra over her own family shattered Alicent's trust in the man she had loved. Today, we're diving into one of the most personal and politically explosive moments in House of the Dragon. Why Alicent felt utterly betrayed when King Viserys defended Rhaenyra at Driftmark, and how this event sowed the seeds for the green and black conflict. The Queen's perspective. Alicent Hightower was not just a queen. She was a mother, a strategist, and a woman who understood the fragile dynamics of Westerosi politics better than most. She knew that every action, every word, and every gesture mattered, especially in the presence of lords and heirs who measured power with sharp eyes. For years, Alicent had stood by Viserys, advising him, supporting his rule, and raising his children. She bore the weight of court intrigue with grace, often keeping her own ambitions in check for the sake of the realm. She understood the delicate balance of loyalty, blood, and influence. And yet, despite all of her efforts, there was one truth that had always gnawed at her. Viserys' affection for Rhaenyra, his daughter from his first marriage, often overshadowed her own role as queen. The gathering at Driftmark. Driftmark was supposed to be a moment of unity. The lords of the realm had gathered to address the tensions in the succession and the looming conflicts among the Targaryens. Fleet ships dotted the horizon, dragons circled the skies, and the banners of powerful houses fluttered in the wind. But the event quickly became a stage for conflict. Viserys, ever the peacemaker, attempted to smooth tensions between Rhaenyra and her stepmother. He defended Rhaenyra, affirming her legitimacy and her right to be treated with respect. To anyone else, this might have seemed like a father simply doing his duty. But to Alicent, in that moment, it felt like a personal attack. The king's words weren't just supportive of Rhaenyra, they implicitly criticized Alicent and her children. They suggested that her sons, the Greens, heirs, were not yet worthy of the same regard as Rhaenyra, and that the queen's influence could not override the daughter of his first marriage. The seed of betrayal. Alicent had spent years cultivating her position, ensuring that her children would be recognized as rightful heirs. She had worked tirelessly to build alliances, secure loyalties, and protect her family from the ever-present threat of Rhaenyra's supporters. And then, in one sweeping statement, Viserys seemed to disregard all of it. Her carefully constructed plans, her political maneuvering, her efforts to secure her children's future, all of it seemed invisible when he defended Rhaenyra so publicly. For Alicent, the betrayal wasn't just about preference. It was about power. By defending Rhaenyra, Viserys implicitly undermined her authority, her influence, and her ability to protect her children. In her eyes, he had chosen Rhaenyra over her family, leaving her to navigate the treacherous waters of court politics without his support. The role of pride and maternal instinct. Alicent's sense of betrayal was intensified by her pride as a mother. She saw her children not as pawns, but as heirs with legitimate claims, children who deserved recognition, respect, and protection. To witness the king defend another over her sons was to witness the very people she was raising being diminished before her eyes. Every word of Viserys' defense of Rhaenyra felt like a judgment on her ability as a mother and as a queen. The insult was subtle, but it cut deep. In Westeros, where perception and respect govern the lives of kings and queens, public affirmation can mean the difference between loyalty and rebellion. By siding with Rhaenyra, Viserys shifted the balance of power, and Alicent felt the ground beneath her feet crumble. The political implications. This was not merely an emotional wound. The king's defense of Rhaenyra at Driftmark had tangible political consequences. The lords of the realm, always watching for signs of weakness or favoritism, took note. Those loyal to Rhaenyra were emboldened, while those aligned with Alicent began to question the queen's influence over the king. Every whispered conversation in the halls of Driftmark reinforced the perception that Rhaenyra held the king's favor, leaving Alicent to navigate a court increasingly hostile to her family's ambitions. In essence, Viserys' words did more than soothe Rhaenyra's supporters, they destabilized the foundation Alicent had worked tirelessly to build. In the ruthless environment of Westerosi politics, this was nothing short of catastrophic. The personal betrayal, love and loyalty. Alicent's pain wasn't only political, it was profoundly personal. She had married Viserys not just as a duty, but out of a desire to be his partner, to guide him, and to secure her place in the realm. Every queen expects her counsel to be respected, her children to be protected, and her loyalty to be reciprocated. When Viserys defended Rhaenyra over her family, Alicent saw a fracture in the trust that had bound them together. It wasn't just a disagreement. It wasn't merely a difference of opinion. It was a clear signal that, in the king's eyes, her family could be overlooked when it conflicted with his devotion to his firstborn daughter. For a queen who had spent her life navigating the intricacies of court intrigue, this was an unpardonable betrayal. Alicent's strategic mindset. But Alicent was no passive victim. The betrayal at Driftmark didn't break her, it sharpened her resolve. She understood that the only way to protect her children and secure her influence was to act decisively. She began cultivating alliances, strengthening the Greens' faction, and ensuring that her son's claims would be impossible to ignore. Every slight, every insult, and every moment of perceived favoritism toward Rhaenyra became fuel for her political fire. Her reaction was calculated, strategic, and, in many ways, inevitable. In a world where the king's favor could determine life or death, Alicent chose to prepare for the battles to come, not just for herself, but for her children. The psychological dimension. Alicent's sense of betrayal also had a psychological dimension. To be undermined by the very man she trusted most created a deep, lingering doubt. She questioned her place in the king's heart, her role in the realm, and even her own judgment. When a spouse, a partner, and a king publicly favors someone else, it shakes the foundation of identity and purpose. For Alicent, the defense of Rhaenyra wasn't a minor slight. It was an existential threat to her authority, her dignity, and her sense of self as a mother and queen. The catalyst for the Green versus Black conflict. Driftmark was more than a social gathering. It was a turning point that set the stage for the eventual Green versus Black conflict. By publicly defending Rhaenyra, Viserys inadvertently pushed Alicent toward embracing the Greens faction fully. What had been simmering tension became open rivalry. The Queen's efforts to protect her sons became intertwined with a broader political strategy, ensuring that the Greens would stand in opposition to Rhaenyra's supporters. In essence, one act of perceived betrayal set in motion the chain of events that would lead to civil war, a war that would engulf the Targaryen family and the entire Seven Kingdoms. The role of court and public perception. In Westeros, perception is power. The king's defense of Rhaenyra sent a clear message to every lord present. She was the favored child, the heir he trusted, and the one whose legitimacy was beyond question. For Alicent, this meant that no matter her loyalty, no matter her influence, the court would see her family as second